Vanessa and Amanda and Katie Taylor and Cecilia, you know, you look at, like, you know, there's some pound women, you know, like women like Person who gave Katie help, who's right up there too, Jessica McCaskill's coming. There are women that don't have titles like Tiara Brown or Michelle Miller, they're coming, and Alicia Napoleon is coming. And there are a lot of girls out there that are coming, Serena, Marina, they're all over the place. I mean, here's the wonderful thing. I can't even think they named all the quality women in boxing right now. When I first got into the sport 30 years ago, there were some great women, but the talent pool was so limited. Right now, there's a very deep talent pool, and you literally could make a great women's fight on every single fight card we do. You could have a championship level women's fight on every card, and I guarantee you, with good matchmaking, a great fight every single time. The women deserve better. They deserve more opportunities. They deserve more chances to show what they can do. Tonight, two of the best fought, and what'd you get? You got pure entertainment. And I don't think there was anyone in that room that didn't love that fight. And when I'm on social media just now, I went through my messages, and what people are saying, they're saying great stuff. Because it wasn't, okay, you knew who the winner was, the winner was clear. But what you got was two women who gave the best of what they are, of who they are. And they both covered themselves in my mind with glory. I thought tonight, I thought Amanda was great, and I thought Heather was great. And I thought Amanda was, you saw Amanda Serrano, what she is and how good she is. You also saw what Heather Hardy is. And they should both be proud, and I think when, you know, I know Heather is heartbroken right now, but I think when Heather takes a breather and she takes a couple of days and relaxes and chills, and then she looks at what people saw in her performance tonight, I think she's going to be really, really proud. I also think she's going to do better. I mean, I don't think her career is over. I think tonight, in a lot of ways, was the best Heather's ever fought. And I think that she's going to get another opportunity to make a good payday, maybe another career high payday, because she earned it. And Amanda and Katie Taylor is a super fight. I mean, it's like, forget about male, female, whatever. It's two of the best fighters in the world fighting each other, and when they fight, that's one of the biggest fights. Maybe when it happens, it'll be the biggest fight that's happened in both fights.
He was seen the first round. It seemed like Hillary was in a lot of trouble. Granted, the fact that there was an
I gotta admit, my heart was even not.
I'm seeing the fact that the debate on 2-minute round, 3-minute round.
You know, I'm tired of fucking debating about 2 minutes. Shut the fuck up with people with 3-minute round bullshit. Because the only people who keep talking about 3-minute rounds aren't going to accept them like women's boxing. If there were 5 fucking minute rounds, or 12 fucking round fights, or 15 round fights. If anything, if you really want to look at the world today, people want quicker fights. They want more action. They don't want length. Look at MMA and its success, and part of it is because of the immediate gratification. And by the way, women can't get fucking attention or platforms or fights on cards in quantity, and making them longer is going to give women more opportunity.
Please.
Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly.
And on top of it, and one of them, one more thing, and this is one that really bothers me. This is one that really bothers me. I'm going to ask everybody who wants to ever talk about some bullshit 2 or 3 minute round.
He went off.
I want you to Google women and head injury and Google women and concussion. And there's a reality. Women are more susceptible to head injury and concussion than men are. There's just a physiological difference, and that's a fact. And every major medical study that's been done shows the same thing. It's one of the reasons why in youth soccer, they're considering not having headers in girls' soccer matches, because women are far more susceptible to brain bleeds, far more susceptible to concussion, far more susceptible to recurrence of a concussion, far more susceptible to concurrent concussion syndrome. So there's a lot of reasons just to leave it where it is. And here's the other thing. You shouldn't fucking make less money and take more risk than the men are taking in the same fight.
Woo!
Right?
Talk about
So
it.
stop with the 2 or 3 minute round bullshit. If anything, part of what made that fight was so exciting was the pace of the fight. The pace of the fight was fun. It was quick, it moved, and look, the average men's 3 minute rounds, it's very rare if you see a round where both fighters are going at it for 3 consecutive minutes, usually you see a shit round in the next round. And most of the time, you see a 3 minute round. How many times do you see a 3 minute round where one or both of the fighters takes a minute off? So I don't want, the debate, you know, particularly, I make a point of doing this too. I try to see, look, it's a legitimate point, and there's some purists, and I get, like, they're not being haters. I don't think everyone that makes the point about 2 or 3 minute rounds is But I do see a lot of the haters, the people that are never going to accept women's boxing, go, women's boxing is shit, and you fight 2 minute rounds. Get the fuck out.
Thank you.
As far as Amanda and her next possible options, because like I think realistically, it's kind of safe to assume that the Katie Taylor fight might not happen immediately next.
Well, we have a fight, we have a deal that, the fight's supposed to happen within 6 months.
Okay.
And with that being said, I saw what Katie's talking about moving up and fighting at 140. Amanda's not gonna fight Katie at 140. I mean, Amanda's fought at 140, but let's face reality, she's not a big girl. I mean, you saw tonight, who's the bigger girl in the ring tonight? Heather was the bigger girl in the ring.
Right.
So Amanda's gonna fight Katie at a weight class where it's really a pound for pound fight, and that's 135. So I mean, I know for certain Amanda will fight Katie next. I don't know that. Amanda can't win. Amanda waited a long time for this fight. She's been over about 6 to 8 months, and she needs to fight more often than that. So, you know, we're going to see what happens, and if the Katie fight is there and Katie's ready for it, we're ready for it. And if it's not, we're going to fight the biggest fight available to Amanda. I mean, look, Amanda's shown it already. I mean, she'll move weight classes, she'll do whatever. And let me tell you, do you think there's anybody that doesn't want to see Heather Hardy fight again? Everybody wants to see Heather Hardy fight again. And I think Heather, I think there's a decent chance Amanda will not stay at 26. And, you know, for all we know, Heather could fight for a featherweight title again in her next fight.
You talked about Heather Hardy after the first 2 rounds. She seemed to settle in, lock in a little bit.
You know, here's the amazing thing. I don't think I've ever seen Heather make adjustments in a fight. And it was very clear that she was a better fighter in the 4th and 5th round than she was in the first 2. I mean, it was very impressive. I thought, you know, look, it was another thing too. And you know, she's already spoke publicly about this. So I don't think I'm stepping out of bounds by saying this. You know, Heather, it's hard struggling for a living. It's hard being a single mother. Heather hasn't had an easy ride. And Heather would would enjoy her glasses of white wine to chill and relax. And Heather has been completely sober now for months. And I don't think her physical condition was ever better than it was tonight. And I think that's what allowed her to survive that first round and get stronger every fight. She was in the best physical shape of her career. And at the best she's looked, and she's 37, I mean, she's not a baby. I mean, she looked better tonight physically, and that's what allowed her to weather the storm. And I think also the corner did a great job. Whatever they were telling her in the corner, she made adjustments, and her defense was far, far superior in the middle and late in the fight than it was early in the fight. So, and look, you know, Amanda threw a lot of punches the first 2 rounds. Yeah, the first round, I don't know how many punches. I mean, I don't know if there was punch out in that fight, but she threw a lot of punches. And she threw some major shots. And very few women weathered that storm. But then again, I watched Heather in a Bellator match get kicked in the head 50 times, get her nose busted all over her face, and she still didn't go down. And the doctor had to stop her in the corner. So, well, whatever, I don't know if the octagon has a corner exactly, but whatever, the doctor has to stop it. I mean, there's no way that Heather Hardy should show that tonight. And Amanda showed tonight why people will talk about her as being the best in the world.
Did it bother you seeing Heather in doing MMA?
Yeah, I mean, it don't bother me. It bothered me thinking to myself that she had to do it to make it good. And that's why, I mean, you know, I'm a little bit of a feminist because I had a strong mom, and my mom was highly educated with a lot of women her age and first generation, didn't do the things she did, and I was raised to believe women could do anything. Because if I didn't believe that, my mother would smack me all over the fucking room. So, I am pro-women, but what women are starting to accomplish on our sport, people have to start paying attention, and look, most of the people, at least live in the arena tonight, came to see the girls play. Let's face reality. And you know what? For them to deliver, there was a lot of pressure on them to deliver. Think about it. I mean, the way it worked out too, and Heather weathering that storm. If Heather would have got knocked out in the first round, people would have waved their hands and they said, "Oh, whatever," and women's boxing, da. And you know what? Heather wasn't going to do that. Heather wasn't, and Amanda knew it too. Amanda's always said Heather's one of the toughest people on earth. I mean, Heather was going to make it through that round, and my heart was in my mouth with seeing how hurt she was. But I said to myself, she's going to make it through this round, and when she does, she's probably going to make it through this fight. I really felt that way. And when I watched her, again, she wasn't winning all those rounds, but she clearly was getting stronger, and her defense was getting better. And she fought her, she fought the best fight she could have fought. And to fight that kind of fight against a woman who is physically gifted as Amanda's an extremely gifted athlete. I mean, she's a tremendous athlete.
Why do you think women's MMA is seemingly a lot more sellable than women's boxing?
It's more sellable. I think it's just gotten more opportunities. I mean, obviously this fight tonight was sellable.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, no disrespect, but if you would let me put that fight on top of the card,
Yeah.
let me use my New York roster of fighters and load this card up, I would have sold it. I mean, it's sellable, these opportunities. And I thank Eddie for buying this fight. Seriously, I thank Eddie for buying this fight tonight, for giving these women an opportunity. I couldn't get Heather on Showtime years ago. I mean, I just couldn't. And I think, because you know what it was too, and I get it a little bit, they weren't that open. I mean, they were just starting to do women's boxing, and they wanted to do the Claressas. They didn't really do it. Amanda did fight on Showtime Extreme. They wanted to do the Claressas and the Amandas and the pound for pound. But that's not what boxing is all about necessarily. It's also about the Arturo Gaddi's and the Mickey Wards and you know, thank you, and that kind of fight. And DAZN and Eddie have you know, it's not only about Katie. You know, tonight DAZN had in a co-feature about two girls from Brooklyn, and the two girls from Brooklyn delivered.
Lou, are we gonna see the fight between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor?
Yes, it's got to be. Yeah, we're going to see it. We're definitely going to see it.
Yeah, Amanda signed for that fight before this fight. Katie's likely gonna have to do a deal with another one of Lou's fighters, because he also has the 140-pound world champion, which we're trying to make a deal with. Hopefully, we'll get there this weekend to move up the weight class and try and become a two-weight world champion. But she remains with her belts at 135, and the deal in place with Amanda is for a fight at 135. So Katie makes 135 easy. She may be able to make 130, but unlikely now. But 135, no problem. So a fight with Katie and Amanda would be at 135 pounds. And as Lou said tonight, I probably already said it, probably a headline fight here. Now, I don't believe there's been a women's headline fight at the Garden before, and you know.
And I said this to Eddie earlier, I really believe it. I think that if that fight is the main event in the theater, I think that fight will go clean. There will not be a walk-up. That fight will sell out in advance. That's how significant I think that fight is. And that fight's going to bring out the entire Irish population of New York and the entire Puerto Rican population of New York. And every New York boxing fan will want to see that fight. Yeah, and it's not going to matter that it's a girls' fight. No one's going to look at it that way. They're going to look at it as two of the best fighters in the world, two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world fighting each other.
So possibly in March or in June, either one of those fighters.
Yeah, I think probably more like February or March, to be honest with you. I mean, look, it's September now. Amanda's just done 10 rounds, so she can have a nice rest. Katie's going to go early November, but she's had a good break. She's been fighting sort of 4 times a year, and she hasn't boxed since June the 1st, so she's going to box November 2nd, and she'll be ready for February or March.
And by the way, how good is Devin Haney?
Unbelievable.
That kid can fight.
20 years old.
This guy's, that kid's got like prodigy, like that kid's got crazy talent. Crazy talent.
Well, I mean, if you're protecting him, no. But he doesn't want protecting. And he's 20 years old. Like any promoter who looks at someone like Devin Haney, I don't mind telling you honestly, like, I want to slow them down, but they want to speed up. So Bill and Devin are I'm gonna do what Bill and Devin tell me to do. They're the boxers.
Promoter probably doesn't want to make that fight right now, but I'll tell you what, you want to hear the fighter wanting it. You want to hear the fighter and his trainer screaming for it. I mean, how hard of you when you hear reasons from fighters why they shouldn't be fighting other top guys. That shit pisses me off. I'd rather see a 20-year-old kid telling me he wants to fight King Kong, because I know what that kid's made of. You know what I mean? Like, I want to hear this guy calling out Lomachenko. I don't even mind it when I love Lomachenko. He might be the best fighter on earth. I'll tell you this, he has the best footwork I've ever seen in my life. He's certainly one of the top 4 fighters in the world. But I want to see a 20-year-old kid calling out the best guy in the world. I think that's what you're supposed to do. You know, I got a kid, George Cambosis, is he ready for Lomachenko? No. He's out there calling him out. I like to see that. Tells me who the kid is. You know, and Devin Haney's good, and he knows he's good.
But like when you look at the lightweight division, who do you rate as better than Devin Haney? Lomachenko, you know, like he's pound for pound star. Tell me another fighter. I mean, I rate Luke Campbell as one of the best lightweights in the world. He had a good fight with Lomachenko, but you know he lost convincingly.
You know, this kid's gonna get better and better.
But who do you rate at lightweight better than Devin Haney? I'm sorry, Tiff. Yeah, I mean, if Tank's, I think, but look, Devin's sparred with Tank many times, and people know what happened there, and I'm sure he'll feed that in. That's a great fight. But, yeah, of course, great fight. Tank's going to struggle the more he moves up in weight, in my opinion. I mean, I think he's a phenomenal fighter, but I also think he's a featherweight that moved to super featherweight, and now he moves to lightweight, where he at all those divisions, he never really accomplished what he should have accomplished, which is probably being unified in every single division and maybe even being undisputed. But if you look at the current active lightweights, you have to really, you know, again, like talking about, I know Luke Campbell's one of my guys, but I can't see how you can compare Teofimo Lopez to Devin Haney right now. I think he's a different type of fighter. I mean, Lou's got Richard Comey, who he rates very high again. Like, I just think there's so much more to come from Devin. He didn't get out of first gear tonight, let alone get to second gear. You know, and there's more levels to go beyond Zara Adullalev, but he's 20. I mean, we've got guys starting out at 20, 21, 22. Guys are at 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and this guy's 23-0 at 20 years age. And you know what? When I found out about Devin Haney that his dad looks after him, I was just found. You know, Lou will tell you, dealing with fathers who represent their kids is a recipe for disaster. For Bill, it's exactly the opposite. Like, what he did with Devin, taking him to Mexico at 16 on his pro debut. I think he had his first 7 or 8 fights in Mexico in small, like, excuse the French, like poxy arenas, you know, like just, and that's where he learned his trade. And his work ethic is something I've never seen in sport, never seen. Someone who lives in Vegas, got money, got everything. And that's the difference between him and some of the fighters we've just mentioned.
You also hear the term in boxing, man strength. You know, where guys have man strength. You know, a 19 and 20-year-old kid doesn't have the same physicality in terms of physical strength as he does when he's 22, 23, 24. I mean, some of the best guys, they may want to take him up on his offer and take those fights right now because Devin needs to be way more of a problem in 2 years than he is right now. I mean, he's already like a physical anomaly. He's a freak. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. But when this kid gets physically stronger, he's going to be a real problem.
That's right.
How soon do you think he's going to be moving up to like, you know, some lightweight and welterweight?
Well, that was a conversation before this fight. But I have to say, they always tell you, fighters always tell you they make the weight okay. We knew when he fought Moran, he didn't make the weight great. And it was a concern going into this fight that, are we going to get the title at 135? Because if not, maybe we should look at 140, but I believe, as Lou said, when we talk about man strength, this guy is going to be a multi-weight world champion. He can't miss the boat at 135. That's got to be his first strap. And he's interim champion. It's not a real world title. We know that. We've got to get the real thing. But this fight, he made weight super comfortably. So that's reassuring. I think he has 2 to 3 fights left at 135. And then, so he has to win that world title before he moves to 140. He's talking about, he believes he can end up at 154. You know, but who knows? I mean, he's 20.
So you Haney right?
Yeah. You know, and I know that Lomachenko's a legend. Like, it's hard to call him out and, oh, Haney will do this, Haney will... But all we're saying is that Lomachenko is going to wait for the winner. They tell me that both guys, Comey and Lopez, have agreed to fight Lomachenko if they win. Lou might tell us different.
No,
But, so... yeah, but he wants a belt. I mean, that's what Devin Haney wants. He wants to win a belt at 135. So what we're saying is... what are you saying?
Do you see St. Davis in the Lomachenko fight before you see Lomachenko?
No, I don't see either of them. I don't see either of them. I mean, Bob's not going to take that fight. But what I'm saying is, Lopez is fighting Common in December. Lomachenko's waiting for the winner of that fight for the undisputed fight. That fight's not going to be till May, April, May, June. So what's he going to? He boxed in August. So is he going to sit out for 10 months, Lomachenko? If he fights in the interim, the fan should almost insist it's his mandatory challenger. If he fights for the undisputed, I understand. Every fighter should try and fight for the undisputed title. But if not, I believe he should face his mandatory. Lomachenko is not afraid of anyone. He'll probably look at Haney and go, I like that fight. I'm sure he wants to fight Gervonta Davis as well. But whether that fight will be allowed is another story.
Hey, Eddie, how are you guys so sure that, with all due respect to Devin Haney, he's a great kid, but how do you know he's as great as you think he is without fighting a big name? I mean, Lomas made Nicholas Waters quit, Rigondeaux quit, he's fought Gary Russell.
Oh, Lomachenko is a legend.
Right.
As I said, like, you can't compare the two. You can't compare the resume.
Crowning Devin Haney a little too quick?
No, I think he boxed the number 2 in the WBC, who, understand, I wouldn't say he was an elite world level fighter, he's a world class fighter. Made him look like a journeyman. Couldn't win a second of a round. Like, that was supposed to be a solid test tonight, and it's not just, I appreciate there's a lot more tests to come, but it's how he's dealing with these, how he's improving. And I just don't think that, in terms of current lightweights, there's much more of a tougher test than Lomachenko and Devin Haney. You know, I can't see how he can't give even Lomachenko a great fight. They think they can win. I mean, maybe Lomachenko's unbeatable. Maybe. But you can't, there's no one sitting here that says they wouldn't want to see Lomachenko against Devin Haney. Yeah, okay. He would be coming 5 pound heavy in that fight, Salido. He's a journeyman's a bit harsh.
Eddie.
Salido's a journeyman. But don't say that in Mexico, you get shot.
Eddie. Eddie, so with Devin Haney as the mandatory challenger for Lomachenko now, what kind of a fight would you be looking to make in November on the KSI Logan undercard with Devin Haney if he fights on it?
He'll be defending his WBC interim title. So he'll be fighting most likely the top 15 guy from the WBC. It's 8 weeks tonight. So he's just getting the all clear from the doctors, which we don't expect a problem. And he embraces that card. You know, I know there's been a lot of sort of talk about that card. Couldn't be more perfect for Devin Haney. That card couldn't be more perfect. The millennials, they love Devin Haney. Hopefully he wins millions of new fans on November the 9th. By fighting somebody great. Yeah, I mean, we want to do it, you know, we want to do it, and that's why he's got to mandatory. He's not got to mandatory and said to me, can I just have 3 or 4 easy fights now? He wanted to get the mandatory because he wants to fight Lomachenko. So, let's find out. You know, I just think, I agree with both your comments, that there are levels above, there's levels between Adullalev and Lomachenko. And I'd like to see him go to those, you know, be in those levels, but he is mandatory. But he's dealing with those guys so easily, it gives me great confidence that he can deal with the rest. But, you know, I mean, I think they're bold. Like I said to them, do you want to chase Lomachenko? Yeah, do. We like that fight. I mean, they'll be it, you know, Bill will tell you, they believe they can win that fight.
Hey, so in the past, you made offers for, let's say, like trying to get the Gervonta Davis fight, Kevin Hearn under zone. And would you be willing to do something like that to try to get Lomachenko?
Yeah, it won't work, but I might do it for fun.
Why wouldn't it work?
Well, because he's not allowed to box on another platform. You know, we had the whole thing with Crawler. You know, when Crawler was mandatory, we were going to go to purse bids. They told me clear, if you win the purse bids, we will vacate the belt. Lomachenko is not allowed to box on another network. So what I will do is I will make an offer to Lomachenko, because I think he's massively underpaid right now. and I will want to show him the levels that we would pay for a fight like that on DAZN. Not going to be accepted in a million years. But I would let Devin Haney box Lomachenko on ESPN, no problem.
Okay, with that being said, if you read the Twitter comments, Shakur